Ladies and gentlemen, imagine putting two of the most influential men in America on opposite sides of a power scale. On one side, you have Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, with access to the machinery of the federal government and the ability to shape national policy. On the other hand, you have Elon Musk, a billionaire entrepreneur whose companies operate in the most strategically important industries in the world, from electric vehicles, electric machines, artificial intelligence to space technology and social media. So both men dominate the headlines. Both men can move the markets. Both men can influence millions of people. And both have already shown that their influence extends far beyond traditional areas of power. So I asked AI one simple question. Who is actually more powerful, Donald Trump or Elon Musk? And the answer actually depends on what we mean by power. Because when you look beneath the headlines, these two men possess completely different kinds of power. Trump's greatest weapon is political authority, whereas Elon Musk's greatest weapon is private influence. And when you put these things head to head, the answer becomes much more complicated than simply asking who has more money or more followers. But let's start with Donald Trump. Donald Trump holds something Elon Musk can never simply buy: the power of the presidency. As president, Trump can direct the executive branch, influence federal policy, appoint senior officials, negotiate with foreign governments, issue executive orders within the limits of presidential authority, and use the enormous platform of the White House to shape the national conversation. And that is completely different level. That is a completely different level of institutional power. But if Trump wants the federal government to prioritize rather something, thousands of officials and agencies can become involved. If Trump wants to change the direction of American foreign policy, he has tools that no private businessman possesses. And just this week, Donald Trump actually demonstrated another part of his power. On 20th August 2026, Donald Trump signed a memorandum aimed at dramatically increasing commercial space launches in the United States of America, with a target of at least 1,000 launches and re-entries annually by 2030. And here is where the story actually gets interesting. That policy could directly affect Elon Musk's SpaceX ambition, and that's true. In other words, Trump has the ability to influence the regulatory and political environment in which Elon Musk's companies actually operate, and that, guys, is enormous power. But now let's look at Elon Musk, because if you think Musk is simply a billionaire businessman, you are missing a much bigger part of the story. Musk has built influence across several industries simultaneously. He has Tesla, he has SpaceX, artificial intelligence, social media, and a growing political network. He doesn't control a government, but he controls and influences platforms that affect technology, communication, transport, space exploration, and public debate. And then there is money. Money can buy influence. It can fund political campaigns. It can build companies. It can attract talent. It can finance technologies that may shape entire industries. And in the 2026 midterm elections, Elon Musk's political spending is once again becoming a major factor. A report, at least according to the recent report, Elon Musk plans to spend at least $100 million helping Republicans in the November elections. That means that Musk is not simply watching American politics far from the headlines, but he is actually participating in American politics. And this creates a fascinating question. If a private citizen can actually spend enormous amounts of money influencing elections, control a major social media platform, operates millions of companies in strategically important industries, and communicate directly with millions of people, how far does his power actually extend? But now let's get back to Trump. Trump doesn't need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to communicate with the public. He has the presidency, he has the White House, he is the Republican political movement, and he has something that Elon Musk doesn't have, legitimate government authority. That difference actually matters. Imagine if there is a major national crisis tomorrow. Who can actually make government decisions? Is it Trump? Who can direct federal agencies? Trump. Who can negotiate on behalf of the United States of America? That is Trump. Who can influence America's foreign policy? That is Trump. Musk cannot do those things because he is wealthy. But now imagine a different scenario. Suppose the question is technological innovation. Who has more direct influence over rocket launches? That is Elon Musk. Who has built companies capable of transforming major industries? That is Musk. Who owns a platform capable of reaching huge numbers of people instantly? That is Musk, because he owns X. Who can personally invest billions of dollars into a technological project? That is Musk. And suddenly the balance begins to shift, and this is exactly why AI's answer cannot simply be Trump, because power isn't one dimensional. There is political power, there is economic power, and there is technological power, there is media power, there is cultural power, there is personal influence. So Trump dominates some of these categories, Musk dominates others. But then we get to the most interesting category of all, that is political influence, and this is where the two men have already collided. Their relationship has been one of the most dramatic political partnerships and conflicts of the modern era, because Musk became a major supporter of Trump during the 2026 presidential campaign. You guys remember, and he later became involved with Trump's administration. You guys can remember. Then the relationship actually dramatically broke down. The two men publicly attacked each other, you remember, and suddenly one of the most powerful political alliances in America appeared to be falling apart. But the story did not actually end there. By 2026, the relationship had begun to thaw. Recent reporting says that Trump and Musk now speak roughly around once a month, even though Trump reportedly believes the relationship will never be exactly what it was before. And that tells us something very, very important. Neither man exists completely independent of the other. Trump benefits from Musk's wealth, and Musk benefits from operating in a government shaped by government policy. And when their interests align, the combination can become extremely powerful. Just look at the space. Trump's administration can influence America's space policy and regulatory environment. That is true. Whereas Moscow's SpaceX can actually build and launch the rockets. One has a political authority, the other has technological capability. Together, These two forms of power can reinforce each other. But what happens if they disagree? That is where the real power test actually begins. Now imagine Elon Musk strongly opposes a major Trump policy. Musk could use his wealth, he could use his social media platform, he could use his political donors, he could he could support candidates, he could mobilize millions of followers, but Trump could respond using the power of the presidency. He could shape regulations, he could use executive authority, he could influence federal agencies, he could appeal directly to his political base. But now the question is, who actually wins? Who actually wins? But according to AI suggests that in a direct confrontation of a government policy, Trump has the advantage because the president ultimately has institutional authority that a private citizen does not. But in a long-term battle over technology, business, politics, public opinion, Musk becomes much harder to actually defeat. At least that is according to AI. Thank you for watching this, and I hope you've loved it.